What's up, everybody? It's Ty with Montana Outlaw BBQ coming back at you with another episode. And you know, all of us here at Montana Outlaw BBQ like to make sure you guys get as much variety as possible. And something that I've always wanted to cook and challenge myself with is beef cheeks. Walking through Sam's Club the other day, and I'll be darned if there wasn't a package of beef cheeks sitting there. So we thought, that's a great time to go ahead and make a video for you. And we're gonna up it because today we're gonna do a beef cheeks loaded baked potato Philly cheesesteak style. So stay with us. We know it's a mouthful, but it's gonna be worth the wait. We've unpackaged our beef cheeks. We're gonna trim them up. First thing that you notice is there is a lot of fat on here that we need to get rid of. It's kind of that hard, really kind of almost like that membrane on a rib fat. It's just not gonna allow rub to penetrate through. It's not gonna be what we want. So we're gonna trim these down and we're gonna make them a little bit smaller. Without further ado, let's get started. We'll go right into this guy here. Okay, so you can see the good meat. This is what we want. And you're gonna notice it's a lot like a brisket. It's very, very, they use their mouth so much, so it's gonna be a tough cut of meat. We're gonna have to cook this out to a really high temperature, 206, 205. We're gonna smoke it, we're gonna braise it, but we wanna just get down to this good usable meat here. So I'm gonna start. You're gonna want a really good sharp knife because that is really, really hard meat. I'm gonna start by getting rid of all this thin stuff, and I'm really gonna try and focus on the center portion right here for today's purposes. And you can start to see like that stuff right in there. Trim it down until we get into really, really good meat. We're gonna add fatty components back in when we braise it after we smoke it in the form of butter and stuff like that. So we're really not concerned at all about this fat that isn't gonna render out. It's gonna make it chewy when we're finished. We want something that's gonna be a really nice shredded pulled beef that's gonna have loads and loads of flavor just because of how this muscle was used while the cow was alive. All right, so there's one piece. Let's work on this piece here. Let's start by getting rid of this thin, fatty strip. You can start to see, we're gonna trim that guy down. And I mean, you can see how that's coming off of there, just like that. So we just wanna get rid of that. This is a really, really tough muscle again, so make sure you got a good sharp knife. Like this Victorinox knife that I'm using here is really sharp, and that should just kind of show you how tough the fat is on that. Those tendons and everything, or the connective tissue of that fat is really, really tight, really tough. But we want to make sure we clean this up as much as possible, because when we hit it with our rub, we want it to have a good chance to get into the meat. So, getting rid of this. That's really, surprisingly, a lot tougher than I expected it to be even. A lot of that away to make sure that we get to the stuff that we want. That's looking good. Just keep moving on and we'll trim. So really what you're gonna do is you're gonna just trim them down like that. You're gonna have nice little chunks like this that will smoke and will braise. and they're gonna come back and they're just gonna pull apart, be super, super tender. So we're gonna show you how to do that. I'm gonna go ahead and finish trimming these right quick. I think you guys have seen enough of that. We'll come back right after I'm done with that, and we're gonna hit them with some rub, and then we're gonna get them ready to go on the smoker. So stay tuned. Beef cheeks are trimmed. It's time to season. Today, we're gonna hit it with our Montana Outlaw BBQ beef rub. You can find it on our website. We love this one because it's really good. It's got a lot of flavors that complement beef in it. It's salt, pepper, garlic. It's got some spices like chili powder, paprika. It's very, very simple. No MSGs, no fillers, all really good. No refined sugars, no refined salts. We just really like it. Good natural flavors on it. You can see we've trimmed down our beef cheeks. We've gotten almost all that fat off of them. So we got really good beef. You can see the marbling in these things. When you break this down and you cook this right, it is gonna be so flavorful, so much beef flavor in it, and it's gonna be really, really, really tender, but it's gonna take some time. These are bigger cuts of meat. They're heavier, they're denser cuts of meat, so you can go really heavy with your flavorings, with your seasonings on here. So we're gonna just get started, and we're gonna go pretty heavy on that beef rub. Tap that in, flip them over, and do it on the other side. That one's a pretty thin cut. It's got a lot of fat on there, but that's okay. That's a softer fat tissue. That one's gonna render out a little bit. But you'll see almost all these other ones, there's no fat. I didn't leave hardly any fat on there. So hit it again, really heavy coating. Now that they're seasoned, you can do a couple of things. These could go in the refrigerator overnight. It's gonna make that rub really allow it to penetrate into the meat, really get deep. Because these are thinner cuts, I don't think they're gonna take that much time for me personally. I'm gonna let these sit at near room temperature right here for about 30 minutes until they start to sweat. While they do that, I'm gonna go get the smoker ready. Today we're gonna be cooking these on our Outlaw patio smoker over hickory wood and charcoal, royal oak charcoal. And so they're gonna get a really, really nice smoke flavor profile on there in the first 2 hours. And then once we hit the color that we want on there, after cooking them at 300 degrees for about 2 hours, we're gonna go ahead and put them in a tinfoil roaster pan with some vegetables, some beef broth, some butter, and we'll talk a little bit more about what we're gonna add in when we get to that point, and then we're gonna finish them off. We're looking for an internal temperature of these to hit about 206 to 207. It can be really, really tender. I think today we're gonna be about 4.5 hours. Okay, so we got our Outlaw smoker fired up, ready to go. We're just in between 275 and 300, really where we like to see this smoker cook. We got our beef cheeks. You can look at how those sweat. I mean, all that rub and all that moisture is gonna just intensify that flavor. So let's go ahead and get it on. We're gonna be using this side of the grill today. We're gonna let them roll in there somewhere around an hour and a half or so until they get good color that we want. And then at that time, we'll go ahead and braise them off with some vegetables, beef broth, and butter. Our beef cheeks here, they've been on the smoker now for just about 2 hours. You can see that color set in on them. Really nice, deep, rich mahogany color. Now is the time when we want to preserve it, add a little bit more flavor into it. So we're gonna braise it and start that development of our Philly cheesesteak topping that we're gonna do. So the first thing we're gonna add is 1 large onion and 2 bell peppers. Can do any colors that you want. And then I tossed in there about 8 cloves of garlic as well. And so all those, spread those out nice and even. You can see all those pieces in there. All of it's pretty long grain cut, pretty coarse cut. No need to get real fine. So now we've got all our veggies in there. We're gonna add in some beef broth. About a half a cup or so to a cup. You don't wanna do much more than that. You don't need a ton. And the key component here is for every 1 part of broth that we add, we need to add 2 parts of a fatty content. We're gonna use butter. So we've added in just about a half a cup of beef broth. We're gonna add in a cup of butter. Now, these right now are sitting at about 155, 160 degrees. We're looking to take these to 206 to 207. Should be super, super tender. So we're gonna go ahead and throw a tinfoil cover on top of them, just like that. Get them back into the smoker, 300 to 325 degrees. Should only take about another hour, hour and 15 minutes for us to get up to what we need to be. And then we're gonna go ahead and finish off our loaded Philly cheesesteak beef cheek potato. That's a mouthful. Okay, moment of truth now. The beef cheeks underneath here have been in the smoker for an additional hour and a half. So we were 2 hours in the smoke. We're an hour and a half braising. Let's open them up. Let's see what we got. They smell amazing. I can smell the peppers, the onion, the garlic. They smell so good. Let's grab our thermopin. Let's see where we're at. Should be right around 206. Man, that's just like 204, 205. All of it's right in that 200, just super, super tender. So next thing we're gonna do is let's get the peppers and onions off of there a little bit. Let's pull these out. You just feel them tender. Okay, for what we want to do today, let's go ahead and shred. Should just kind of just fall apart, just like shredded beef. That connective tissue wants to just fall apart. For what we need for today's exercise, that'll be all we'll need right there. Let's give it a little taste test and just see what it tastes like just by itself. Oh man, so tender, so beefy. Look at that smoke ring we got on there. You can just see that smoke, that rub on there comes through really, really nice. I like that. That is really, really, really nice. Okay, so we've got our beef cheeks done. At this point, you could go a bunch of different directions with it. You can make tacos with it. You could eat it by itself with some potatoes, kind of like Irish style, some potatoes, some carrots, some stuff like that. It'd be really, really good. For us, we're doing loaded baked potato, Philly cheesesteak style. So I'm gonna take my veggies that I have over here that were in this braise. I got the Blackstone running. We're gonna sear them off, get a little char on it. Put some Tillamook, one or the other, Tillamook cheese, pepper jack cheese over the top of it. We got some baked potatoes, we're gonna do that. Top it with a little barbecue sauce. It's gonna be our own take on a beef cheek loaded baked potato, Philly cheesesteak style. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a good amount of our veggies and onions and garlic, all that stuff right there. Throw it down on the hot Blackstone. While that's taking place, gonna make a nice little char. I'm gonna go and cut a couple of nice pieces of pepper jack cheese. We got our baked potato right here. Go ahead and cut that open down the middle. Give it a little pop open there like that. Okay, we want to load that whole cavity full of that beef, just like that. Look at that. Look at that right there. Okay, now cheese down. Make a nice little layer of cheese here. Take our onions and garlic, all that stuff. Go right over top of our cheese like that. Once that cheese melts down just a little bit there, we're gonna go like this. And then right over the top, just like that. Take our barbecue sauce. We're gonna use our Head Country for a nice little drizzle over the top. Can't get accused of not eating our greens ever around this camp, so we're gonna top it with some green onion. And that is one loaded beef cheek baked potato. We've assembled our creation, our concoction, beef cheek Philly cheesesteak with pepper jack cheese, loaded baked potato style. The only thing left to do is to try it. This looks like it's gonna be a mess to eat, so before I dig in and try it, I wanna remind you, if you haven't already, thank you for watching this episode, but make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. You don't wanna miss anything that we're doing from our competition series, regional series. We have collision series. We do a lot of stuff here on Montana Outlaw BBQ, and it's all about helping you, our viewers, take what we do in competition and all the knowledge that we have and apply it to how you can cook in your backyard. So thank you for watching. Make sure you check out all our other socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok's coming, Pinterest, where we'll pin some of our favorite recipes and things that we like to cook at home as well. Without further ado though, let's slice this bad boy open. Let's see what it tastes like when you put it all together. Beef cheek, Philly cheesesteak, loaded baked potato. Let's try it out. And look at that, we got all the onions, beef, cheese, potato. I quit. My God, that has so much flavor. The beef, the potato, the fluffiness. Those peppers and onions and garlic, man, I can't even describe to you the flavor bomb that just went off in my mouth. It was incredible. Highly recommend, highly recommend you go out, get some of these ingredients, try this for yourself. You're gonna be impressed. So good, amazing. Thank you again. This is Ty with Montana Outlaw BBQ. Keep cooking, guys.